Awesome. So Whitney, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today. I am very excited to be interviewing you. I've really wanted to interview someone from the plant-based industry for quite a while now. Before we get started, would you just mind providing a little bit of background on yourself and just kind of, what industry you work in, and then a little bit background on your attendance at Pepperdine when you came to Graziadio and whatnot?
Yeah, so I went to USC and graduated from the Marshall School of Business. So I graduated with my business bachelor's of science degree. And then later on, I wanted to pursue my MBA. So then I was accepted into the Pepperdine University graduate program. And even before my MBA post college, I got into the food industry. So overall, I've been in that field for about 7 years now, and 3 of which have been at Beyond Meat, where I currently am a senior project manager. It's just been a really rewarding and incredible industry to be in. My previous professional experience has been like marketing, operations, and inventory management. So all of that has really helped me build to, I believe, be a really strong senior PM, and taking this into Beyond Meat, which has been a super exciting time to be working here.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, Beyond Meat's definitely a company that is definitely not necessarily trendy, but just on the up and coming. I think you guys are doing some awesome work. So moving on to the next question, what drew you to attend Graziadio maybe versus some other graduate schools? What did you like about Pepperdine Graziadio specifically?
Well, it's certainly the reputation. And also, I remember when I first applied, they reached out to me and I met up with one of the recruiters for coffee, and it just felt really personable. And I really valued that they really felt that they want to be there. And I really appreciated that outreach. And of course, I really valued the fully employed program. So it gave me the flexibility to continue working while being in school. And also you could be very selective in the classes that you took as well, and really adjust your schedule accordingly. And I also really wanted that in-person experience. I wasn't looking for anything to online. The online programs that other schools offered, I really just didn't see that as the path I wanted to take and really get that in-person feeling. And then on top of that, the West LA campus was very convenient, as the job I was currently at was in El Segundo, which I know I still am there with Beyond Meat, but a previous job happened to be in El Segundo as well.
Awesome. That's good to hear that. It's funny because most people talk about our Malibu campus, so it's nice to hear someone else talk about a different campus.
True. The Malibu was very beautiful.
Yeah, Malibu is definitely kind of like the flagship, the star child, if you will, but we do have some other campuses as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So kind of getting into the fun stuff now. So I'm, as I described a little bit earlier, very passionate about just the meat industry in general. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand some of the benefits of just plant-based meats, and kind of from a sustainability standpoint, why that's becoming so much more important as we just progress with so many issues that we're seeing with how kind of the meat industry is affecting just the overall sustainability industry, and just not necessarily good for the planet to have as much meat as we used to. What would you say with Beyond Meat? You guys are definitely an industry disruptor, but in terms of them being an integral part of how we can achieve like a sustainable future globally, what drew you to work for Beyond Meat? Because that's one reason that I've really flocked towards Beyond Meat, is not only the animal welfare that you guys are a big, that's one of your staples, but also just the fact that it's so important for the sustainability moving forward. What drew you to work there specifically?
Yeah, so interesting enough, a previous job I was at, we had a partnership with Beyond Meat. So that's where I was first introduced to the company. So one day I saw a job posting on LinkedIn for a project manager role, and I didn't hesitate in applying. I already knew a great deal about their mission, their products, even having tried them before working there. And happy to say that I thought they were excellent. So I was really excited to see that opportunity that met all my criteria in any position I was looking for at the time. And it was also really helpful to be able to talk to some former coworkers to understand their feeling on the partnership side and how they felt the the relationship with people that worked at Beyond Meat. And then I actually already knew a few people that worked at Beyond Meat as well. So I was able to get some honest insider feedback too.
Awesome. That's great. It's always great to kind of have like an inside view.
Yes.
People will be honest with you about how their
Yes.
experience is.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Thank you. So moving forward then, what has your experience been working at Beyond Meat? The kind of like, what are some of your favorite aspects, and then what does your job in particular look like? Kind of like, what's a day in the life at Beyond Meat for you?
Endless growth. So I really am excited to see that even during the rough patch year that we saw across the globe, that we have still experienced such endless growth and expanding employees and our offerings as well. So it's really important to me to not slow down. I really thrive best in a fast-paced environment. So that is something that has not slowed down at Beyond Meat. And it just continues to grow, and which has always been important to me because, you know, I always want to see what where I can progress in the company and grow within. And so this year has just been super exciting, seeing so many new products that we're bringing into the marketplace. And so some of like my favorite aspects of working at Beyond Meat is definitely around the people I work with. It really makes a difference when you're working with people that are just as motivated as you are in executing all of our projects. So, you know, I'm managing many different projects across the field, and so it's definitely a highlight whenever I see one of those launch in market. I finally can shout and celebrate on social media. So it's definitely a testament to how I can keep quiet. I don't say a word, or it's a tough point with my family of, I can't believe that was coming. And I'm like, I have to keep the secret. So that is absolutely my number one best feeling, is when I see something that I was the project manager of launch. And then of course, you know, as I'm sure other people experience with companies, it's like the Beyond Meat events when they throw for us employees, which of course, you know, was a rough patch during COVID of being able to have those celebrations, but I can't wait to partake in those again soon. And it's always, again, a plus to be able to try our products behind the scenes before they even launch in market. So we kind of get that inside and get to be able to honestly provide feedback on, and, you know, get that feedback taken into account, as well as sharing on social media when projects launch, and be like that it's excellent and go try it now.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's one thing that I really like about Beyond Meat that we'll dive into a little bit later. With the product offerings are not only expansive, but I think that they're very uncompared. Like, I think that the products are fantastic. We use Beyond Meat in all of our stuff, like from like spaghetti types of meals to like tacos. So it's just like, it's really nice to feel like, you know, you're doing a more ethical and sustainable offering, and not really feeling like you're having to compromise like your food choices, which is one reason I love Beyond Meat.
Right. Yeah. And it's great that I love our products. I don't have any poker face. So, so that's always a great thing.
Yeah, that's nice to actually work somewhere that you don't have to lie about, you know, liking the products.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome. So then kind of as we dive into this further, so as I was telling you beforehand, earlier in our conversation, plant-based meats, I think, are hard for some people to wrap their heads around. I don't know, Netflix has a really interesting series called Explain. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they have an episode on plant-based meats. And there was this really interesting segment where they had a bunch of kids test the different meats, and all the kids actually chose the plant-based meat. But then when they found out that it was plant-based, they were like, I don't like it anymore. Like, I would never eat it again. And in my head, I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because if it tastes good and you like it the best, but then all of a sudden you found out it's from plants, why is that a problem? And I've even struggled with that within my own family, trying to educate them on plant-based meats more, the benefits of it. You know, it doesn't taste very much different, if it at all. What would you say to people that are kind of struggling with just wrapping their head around plant-based meats? Because I think what I've seen is it's hard to get people to try it, but then once they try it and you educate, it seems like they're more open to it. And as time goes on, they actually choose it as their alternative to a traditional meat supplement.
Yeah, I mean, I always say try and then judge. I mean, I think when hearing that reaction with kids, I think it's how they're raised to view, I think, plants and, eat your veggies, eat your fruit. And so I think it's also about changing that perception. But I treat, it just needs to be treated like normal food and branching out, especially for the older crowd that may be hesitant. It's just expanding your palate. I did experience that with my own family. We've again, maybe not something to say, but I do come from a meat eating family. So it was quite the shock for them when they learned that that I took a position at a plant-based company, Beyond Meat. But again, when I told them how good our products are, and of course they wanted to be supportive as well, they did try it and they actually do love it, and they go and purchase it all on their own. They don't even tell me. I'll just open the fridge and see our products in it. So I think that's always a good sign that they don't have to feel the pressure from me. But again, it's not something that they would have tried. But again, it's also remarkable to them how it is very much like meat. And I think that people just don't believe that. And so they need to just try it for themselves.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I've been doing this thing where like I said, I'm an Arizona native. I've been doing this thing where I take people to plant power fast food, which I don't know if you're familiar. They have really, really good establishments all throughout LA. I'd recommend it. It's super phenomenal fast food, and their whole marketing campaign is changing the future of fast food. And I take my friends there and I don't tell them it's plant-based, and then they eat it, and then afterwards I'm like, it was all plant-based, and they're shocked because it's not only just the taste, but the texture, the consistency, everything's exactly the same. It's just made differently. So I agree with you. I think it's really about trying it and then being open to change. And then I think from what I've seen, people are actually like, I like this better. I feel better. It feels better on my body. I don't feel as gross after eating. And it seems like it's more about just changing, like you said, the perception. And I think that we're all now realizing, when there's a better alternative, why not do that if it's better for kind of everyone?
Exactly.
So then kind of in going to the next question. So one thing at Graziadio is we talk a lot about ethical and values-based leadership. One of the biggest reasons that I love Beyond Meat, as I said this earlier, is animal welfare. I'm a huge animal advocate. I have 2 cats. I work at a shelter, and the reason I chose to go plant-based meats only is because I'm like, it doesn't seem to make sense for me to only like care about like cats and dogs. It makes more sense to care about all animals holistically. And I love that one of your guys' main staples at Beyond Meat is animal welfare, because especially with factory farming, there is a lot of unfortunate types of practices that happen there. Why do you think that's a critical focus for Beyond Meat, specifically kind of the animal welfare part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to that core mission. So it's amazing that by putting the emphasis that we do on animal welfare, we're then also improving human health, making a positive impact on climate change, and addressing global resource constraints. So with that focus on the animal welfare, we're able to then tackle and see, okay, where can we disrupt on the shelf? And it really, which is why we have endless opportunity, because there's just a wide range of products that we can then create and offer that alternative for someone to buy. And again, there's been lots of studies that have shown by eating plant-based products is better for you, and how much the world would benefit by people switching over, even if they just reduce the amount of meat that they consume each week. So again, it's with Beyond Meat really focusing on that animal welfare, which I think vast majority of people, if not everyone, can agree is something that is important to look at. It just gives us the opportunity to go through all the product lines and get people other options to buy that they just don't have. If they're craving this specific item, there's a plant-based alternative that is just as good.
Right. And I agree. That's one reason I love it, because like I said, you're really not compromising at all in terms of taste, texture, price point. It's all very similar for the most part. And I think not even just speaking animal welfare, but I'm really passionate about sustainability. I'm thankfully a little bit more educated on it because I do the research. I enjoy it. But even when you look at water savings and all these things that you could be doing, if you're doing plant-based, you're holistically doing a lot more environmentally because you're not having to use as much resource for plant-based. And then as we
Yeah.
know, we're running out of land, so it might be good to have,
Super
other
true.
options.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. But yeah, the animal welfare piece is definitely an important part for me. And I think that it's nice to see that Beyond Meat cares about that because again, that ties into ethical leadership. And I think that a lot of companies like Beyond Meat are really focusing on not just doing ethical leadership or not just saying they're doing it, but actually doing it. And I think that it's cool that that's a staple of your guys' business.
Yeah. And it's really hits home too for our CEO. He grew up on a farm, so there's a lot of history there as well.
Oh yeah, that's kind of my end goal. Like I'd love to end of my life, I'd love to have like an animal sanctuary with like all types of animals, not just cats and dogs. I'd love to have like elephants and cows and like all this craziness would be awesome. But that's a story for another time. So then lastly, last question here is I know that Beyond Meat recently launched a new chicken product. And this is just kind of a fun question. I did see that I think you guys are partnered with Panda Express, which is awesome for the orange chicken. How do you like the chicken? I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I think chicken's even more exciting because we eat so much chicken in this country that I'm
Yes.
excited to see a really good chicken alternative.
Yes. Again, I have no poker face, so I was excited to see a question that I can absolutely say that I love it. It's terrific. The team did such an amazing job. Just no one really sees what goes on beyond the scenes, but everyone was so motivated to execute this product for our customer. And we also have, we launched this food service chicken that's going into restaurants as well. I've tried them both and I absolutely love it. It's an incredible product coming soon. And actually, well, I mean, the food service chicken's out in select restaurants. So it's definitely the year of the chicken for us. And I'm just thrilled with how it turned out.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know about Panda Express. I don't really eat fast food too much, but I'll have to see what other establishments it's sold at. But I know eventually you guys will be bringing it to market as well with having it like available for like grocery stores and whatnot. So I'm very excited about that because I love chicken, but I'm excited there's a good alternative. So those are all the questions that I have, Whitney. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for really agreeing to the interview with me and talking about a topic that you and I are both passionate about. I'm really excited to see the future of Beyond Meat because I don't think you guys are anywhere near where you guys will be headed. So I just want to thank you for your time and just appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for reaching out. This is great.